Let's move over to topic 2. Let's talk, or switch over from game shows to an actual game, video game rather. Let's talk about Balatro, and I think that's how you say it, Balatro, Balatro. I apologize for butchering it. But this is an indie game that's it's come out recently, I believe, as of recording, maybe 3 weeks to a month ago. Hold on, February 20th. Okay, about a month ago. It released, and it has been blowing up across podcasts that I've listened to and different journalists, that's the term, that I follow online. Everybody's really enjoying this game, and I had a gift card that I had available to me, so I decided to try it out and jump into it, and I'm absolutely loving it as well. So if you don't know what the game is, essentially, well, here's the Steam description. The poker roguelike. Balatro is a hypnotically satisfying deck builder where you play illegal poker hands, discover game-changing jokers, and trigger adrenaline-pumping outrageous combos. So, in its core, it is a poker game. Now, this isn't a typical poker game like Texas Hold'em or, I guess, your base poker, where you're playing against other players, you're doing the bets, the antes, all that stuff. This is just you against, like, you and a score... Not chaser, that sounds right. Just trying to get your highest score. That's what it is. You're trying to meet these criteria. So you are given 8 to 9 cards each round or hand that you have. And you need to assemble your best poker hand with those cards. Now, each time you go into a game or a round, per se, you have so many discards, so if you don't have something or you want to try and get something better, you can discard and kind of bet on the odds to see if you can get something better to assemble for more points. So, typical poker hands, 2 of a kind, pair, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, straight, flush, royal flush, whatever it may be. High card. You're going to try and play those to accumulate points. Starts off easy, obviously gets a little bit more challenging and difficult as you go on. But, for example, you have 4 hands to get 600 chips. And based on the hands that you play, you'll be rewarded higher chip amounts for what you played. So, for example, a high card, not going to get you that much because it's only that 1 card value, and you're not going to get a lot of chips from it. But something like a flush, which is a little bit more difficult to come by or make, you're going to get rewarded for that. So that's the basic element of it. Just use your cards, try and chase that high score, or rather that score threshold, to move on progressively through the levels. The other thing that they add to it with the roguelike element, similar to your Hades and, oh boy, I mean, there's numerous upon numerous roguelikes, but let's go with Hades just because that's one of the ones I'm most familiar with. You'll get modifiers along the way to make your cards more powerful and strong. So they had mentioned the Joker cards. So Jokers, there are apparently 150 of these across the game. You are allowed to have up to 5 at any point. After each round, you go into the store, which this will be important for later later aspects as well, where you have the opportunity to buy these Jokers. And these Jokers have a wide variety of effects. Some are very simple, where they just add to your score multiplier. So every time you score a hand, you get a chip amount that accumulates based on the card value, or the face value of the card. So number values are what they are. Face cards are 10, and then your ace is 11. So if you had a flush, for example, I have on the screen here an ace 8, 5, 3, 2, it would be 11 plus 8 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2. You do that, it would times to your multiplier, go into your score, right? So these Jokers, some of them are very simple, where they can add to your multiplier. They can add to your chip count. There's other ones where if you play certain cards, for example, you play heart cards, you'll get a bonus there. If you play a flush, you'll get a bonus there. There's so many of them that can alter what you are doing in that specific run in your roguelike journey that affect your score, help you get more and more chips as you go on, and try and help you beat the game. So that's one aspect of a tool that you can use to achieve higher scores. There's two other components as well. There are celestial cards and there's arcana cards. Celestial cards are essentially planet cards, and then there's also spectral cards. The spectral cards are a little bit more varied in their abilities, similar to the Joker cards, but these are like one-time uses. Similar to the planets, they're also one-time use, but what the planets do is they increase your level, or rather your chip output, per each hand. So at the start, everything starts at level 1, but if you play a Jupiter card, for example, that adds a level to your flush ability. So you'll get more chips as you're playing it, and you'll add to your multiplier as well. So you could try and, for example, the game that I won, the only one, I had a pretty good run of like bonuses where flushes were really good to me. So I tried to level up the Jupiter, or rather get those Jupiter cards to level up the flush as much as I could to get more and more payout. So my Jokers would help me and those cards would help me. So that's one way to boost yourself. And then we went over to, or rather we talked about the ancestral cards. These are, and I believe that's the right word. Maybe it's alchemy. Oh boy, why am I blanking? Oh, it's like tarot cards. Why am I thinking ancestral? I apologize. Arcana. That's the word. My bad. Arcana cards. These are different buffs as well that you can play that will change your cards. Some will become holographic or foil or gold, and they each have different variables, or rather effects to them. So gold cards can reward you more money for the store, whether you play it in your hand or you keep it and just don't use it. Foils, I believe, give you bonus chips that you can acquire when you score. There's a stone one that just automatically gives you 50. If you like have nothing else to use, you can throw it out there. I don't remember the holographics, I believe, add to your multiplier. So you have the various effects there. There's also arcana cards that can change certain cards. So you can either level them up. So for example, turn a 9 into a 10. There's ones that can change their suit. So we talked about the flushes earlier. Maybe you're going for spades. You gotta change these hearts. 3 more spades right there. So there's a wide variety of things that you can change and alter as you are going through. You start with a 52 card deck. That can change as well. You can accumulate even more playing cards. I think the most I've had at a time is 65. I don't know if there's a cap, but you can also lower that. So if you just want 20 good cards in your hand, you can get rid of them. I haven't noticed a great way to do that yet, but apparently there's an achievement to play with like 5 cards in your hand. No idea why you would do that, but there's that. So that's just the basic gameplay. Now I say basic. That's just the like kind of tip of the iceberg of the basics for each run and your gameplay. You have your Arcana, you have your Celestial, you have your Joker, and then you have your cards, and you're just trying to accumulate chips as you go through. Each ante, you're trying to run through 8 antes, has a small blind, a big blind, and then your boss fight. You could skip the 2 antes if you want. I haven't done that at all, so I don't know if it costs a resource or anything like that. But each has a score that you're trying to get. So I believe for the first one, it's like 600, 850, and I don't know, 1,000 something. You get through those 3, you move up to the next ante, and the scores become higher and higher and higher as you go. If you defeat all 8, you technically won. You can play in endless mode from there if you just want to keep going with that deck and you're having a great time. Totally cool, you could do that. But that's essentially how you beat the game. And it's one of those things where, like many roguelikes, it's rinse, repeat, and you're just trying to challenge yourself with each run, see how far you can go. It isn't anything where you keep things afterwards, so like a Hades, as we'll harken back to that or compare it again. as Zagreus gets more powerful as you go along. Here, it's a fresh start every time. The things that you do unlock is through your collections. So there's so many planet cards, Joker cards, whatever it is. If you use, buy, spend, whatever it is, over your gameplay a certain amount, you can unlock more Joker cards to be found in the store throughout your gameplay. So that's kind of the one aspect that transfers over from game to game, is you just kind of gather more resources, typically more powerful cards, to help you in further games. There's also, you're probably asking like, well, you beat the game, what else is there after? There's different decks that you can play with that alter the game a little bit more as you go along, kind of add more modifiers to that run. So the first one, the red, gives you one discard. So you're allowed an additional discard per each game or hand rather that you're playing. The blue deck, which is the next one I believe, gets you an extra hand. Then there's numerous ones there. And then there's also challenge decks, which I haven't gotten to that point with only winning once. And I'm doing that thing where I'm like only playing. So I completed the red deck. I'm now only playing the blue deck until I beat that. I don't know if that's stubborn or whatever it is, but I haven't really gone and messed around with the other ones to see what they offer. But all in all, this game's been a lot of fun. I think this is also just a single developer, if I'm not wrong, which is insane just to think of how this game blew up. Like, good for them. They're probably doing very, very well. I think on Steam alone, it says they sold 1 million units. So, hot damn. And this is across numerous platforms. This is on Steam. This is on PlayStation where I'm playing. I believe this is on Xbox as well. So, if this sounds like something up your alley, something, not turn your brain off, but something you can find enjoyment out of, where it is just that gameplay, it's easy to access, it's difficult to master, and I think it has a very good way of scaling things up. It never feels like frustrating, which is great. It's just like, nope, not gonna make it this time, let's run it again. Like, it's very easy to just go and be like, oh crap, I've spent 3 hours playing this game already. And it's fun. It's a blast to play. I'm looking forward to playing more tonight, actually, after I get done with podcast here. But yeah, I would definitely give it a try. Yeah, if you like poker, whether you like poker or you don't like poker, it's one of those things where you can always reference to like what the hands are if you need any assistance, and you can play to your strengths as well with how you craft your deck. Obviously, there's a little bit of that random element where you might not always get the cards that you want, so you kind of have to steer in a different direction, play with what they give you, but there is that freedom there too. If you notice, wow, I'm getting a lot of, pairs, I better build this up, whatever it might be, you can transform your hand, your deck, into something that you feel a little bit more confident playing. You don't have to play like, I need to get a straight, this is going to be the best thing ever, or I need to get a royal flush. You can play simple hands and build that multiplier up and still make it far into this game. Like, I think early stages when I was playing, I was doing a lot of 2 pairs, and then I started finding that flushes were working for me well, and that's where I spent a lot of my resources, and it worked out. So you kind of just got to go with what you're feeling, see what works, see what doesn't, and just roll with it. So once again, Balatro, check it out, or Balatro, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend it. And this will be certainly one of those games we talk at the end of the year of like, yeah, this came out of nowhere. I didn't even know about this game until we dove into it.